Leicester City have gained a reputation as one of the country's leading knockout specialists in recent years. 2 League Cup triumphs in the last 4 years have given followers of the Foxes plenty to smile about.
Leicester City, the Worthington Cup winners.
But they've made it into the quarter-finals of the FA Cup for the first time since 1982. Today's opponents, Wycombe, are in totally uncharted territory, though. They'd never been past the 3rd round before. But wins over Grimsby and Wolves put them into round 5, where they triumphed in that extraordinary penalty shootout at Wimbledon.
And he's guided! Wycombe Wanderers are in the quarter-final of the FA Cup!
And of course, their manager enjoys a very special relationship with the competition. So can Laurie's lads continue their cup adventure? In the next hour, extended highlights of the AXA-sponsored 6th round tie between Leicester City and Wycombe Wanderers. Hello, only 7 teams from outside the top 2 divisions have ever reached the FA Cup semi-finals. Today, Wycombe Wanderers were out to make it 8, but standing in their way, a Leicester side, 6th in the Premiership and looking to add the FA Cup to the Worthington Cup they won last year. Highlights from Filbert Street coming up. As well as news and reaction from Highbury, where Arsenal look to book their semi-final place at the expense of Blackburn Rovers. And Russell Osman, stout yeoman for Leicester City from 1985 to 1988, is here to cast an expert eye on the goings-on at his old club. Well, there's little doubt Leicester City have been one of English football's success stories over the last few years. 2 Worthington Cup victories, high Premiership finishes. The only thing missing has been a good FA Cup run. 1982 was their last quarter-final appearance. But the quarter-finals are a whole new experience for Wycombe. They'd never got past round 3 until now. Could the Laurie Sanchez version of the Crazy Gang keep it going? Brian Marwood and Martin Tyler were at Filbert Street to find out.
Well, it's a special day for Steve Guppy of Leicester City, who played a major part in Wycombe Wanderers' remarkable growth from non-league football. He faces the club that also did so much for him. Peter Taylor had already decided that this would be the right time to reintroduce Guppy, who's not been a regular this season, but that decision was made easier by an injury to Callum Davidson. There's a change on the right as well, with Andy Impey needed in place of Frank Sinclair. Steph Oakes comes in for the cup-tied Junior Lewis in midfield.
Well, Leicester City will go with 3 centre-halves, 3 very experienced centre-halves, Rowett, Elliott and Taggart, but certainly look to their wing-backs, Impey, as you've already mentioned, and Guppy, Martin, who will love to get forward and try and test Wycombe in those wide areas. Stephen Oakes will be the holding midfield player, but Savage and Izzet will no doubt look to get forward with good effect and join a front 2 who certainly have struck up a very good understanding indeed. Both Sturridge and Akinbaye possess plenty of pace, and it's whether the 3 Wycombe centre-halves can cope with that.
Wycombe welcome back from suspension 2 men who've scored almost half their goals in this extraordinary cup run, defender Paul McCarthy and midfield player Michael Simpson. But it's up front where they've been cruelly hit by injuries, so much so that Gianluca Vialli and Ian Wright were sounded out about their availability on a one-off basis. There is a place in attack for 20-year-old George Clegg, who's only been at the club a week on loan from Manchester United.
A similar formation as far as Wycombe are concerned, and the 3 centre-halves of Cousins, Bates and McCarthy are going to be tested by the pace of Sturridge and Akinbaye. It's going to be a real feature of how young Ben Townsend at right wing-back will cope with Steve Guppy. Of course, Guppy is very creative, loves to get crosses in from that left-hand side. The midfield 3 will have to battle like for like in there, with Simpson being the playmaker. They'll be hoping they can get him on the ball and maintain some good possession, but it really is going to be difficult for the front 2. Keith Ryan, who is normally a midfield player, who is a bit of a workhorse, who will try and work and put the back 3 of Leicester under pressure, and George Clegg, very much a youngster learning his trade.
This is George Clegg, and through him Manchester United do still have an involvement in this season's competition. And a great sense of expectation around Filbert Street as Leicester look to try and get a place in the semi-final of this competition for the first time since 1982. It's a competition they've never won, but they will expect Wycombe to work extremely hard right from the front where Keith Ryan is starting with George Clegg. Peter Taylor, I think, has sprung something of a surprise on the side from Division 2 by including Steve Guppy. Taggart. Well, it's a fine ball. Well, Sturridge had a decision to make then about whether to strike for goal as the ball dropped. He chose not to.
Well, in the form that he is in at the moment, you would have expected him to take this first time. Great movement between the front two, but I've got to say Taggart's ball, superb.
Well, is it caught in possession by Simpson? And here's Steve Brown getting within range.
Well, that's come about really because Leicester are trying to play too narrow. When they are getting opportunities to pass the ball, they're very frightened to pass it wide, and Wycombe are working so hard, especially the Simpson, Bullman and Brown, who was on the ball.
This is Bullman. Well, challenged by Izzet. Well, there was a time when Jason Cousins tackling in his early Wycombe days was a source of consternation to his managers. Martin O'Neill sorted him out in that respect, but he came in then in a way that Steve Bennett took exception to.
Well, he was pleading his innocence, and he may well have just got a touch on the ball, but clearly he cannot afford to tackle from behind.
Well, it's the pace that Leicester do have through Sturridge and Akinbaye that they're trying to impose on proceedings. It's not been a major factor so far. Sturridge forced to play it back to Impey. Oh, Savage is free! Well kept out by Martin Taylor.
Well, that's better from Leicester. Playing with better width, and it's a terrific ball in, but just look at Robbie Savage. Just drops off the shoulder of Jamie Bates. It's a terrific save at the end.
Impey. Cross comes in from Savage, and it's a high one, which Akinbaye does well to keep in play. Oh, and it comes for Guppy. And now Oakes. Flag is up against Sturridge.
Well, certainly better play from Leicester City. Good sustained pressure. An offside against Dean Sturridge, but it'll be interesting because there was an awful lot of bodies in there. Akinbaye had no right to win that header. And Stevie Guppy gets it on his right foot, not the one that he would favour. But as this ball comes back in, I really don't think that Sturridge is offside, because that defender at the far, we can see with his hand up, which I think it's Jamie Bates. Very fortunate Wycombe to got away with that.
Is it? Gets away from Simpson. Well, Muzzy Izzet is one of the brightest stars here at Filbert Street.
Well, he's certainly making a career of this, isn't he? Breaking forward from midfield, claiming his fair share of goals. Good strike, gets it onto his left foot. Not an awful lot really for him to do other than to shoot at goal.
And they do need Izzet's influence at the moment, Leicester City. He's rather blocked off there by the referee from making a challenge.
As well as Wycombe have defended, one of the exceptional parts of their game so far, Martin, is that they haven't allowed Leicester to get at them from wide areas. We haven't really seen an awful lot of Impey or Guppy yet.
This is Bullman, and it needed saving by Simon Royce down by his right-hand post. Good connection from Danny Bullman from distance.
Well, he may be a youngster, Danny Bullman, but he showed no nerves this afternoon. Robbie Savage really didn't get close to him, and that certainly would have crept inside the post if Royce hadn't saved it.
Bates and McCarthy by the near post there. Clegg also making a nuisance of himself, and you can see the difficulties. The ball is right, whether you're Premiership or not, it takes a lot of defending. And Leicester haven't cleared their lines. Well, George Clegg attacking the cross.
Well, there's not an awful lot to him, is there, Clegg? But he gets himself between Elliott and Impey. He isn't far away with his header. It's a little bit unfortunate.
Rowett. Impey. Comes out to Izzet. Seen very little of Guppy so far. Elliott. Izzet not sure where it's dropped. Guppy came back to get the ball back. Izzet. Oh, Akinbai, and the flag is up again to thwart Leicester City.
Well, they're holding a good line, but it's a dangerous line, Wycombe Wanderers. And some superb play in midfield from Muzzy Izzet. Very quick feet. And as that ball is slotted through, yeah, Savage, Sturridge, Akinbai, take your pick.
Elliott's header. Ooh, and Brown's going to get booked for that. Or is he? Steve Bennett made a move towards reaching for the card. Maybe he's giving himself a bit of thinking time. Savage, as usual, wants to have a say when the referee knows what's gone on. He was very close to the incident.
Well, it's not the first time that those two have had a alteration in that midfield area. Steve Brown is going to get a yellow card now. Peter Taylor's beginning to voice his opinion now in the technical area. He won't be happy with what he's seen. He would know that Wycombe would be well prepared, but I think he probably feels that his side have just been a little bit sloppy, haven't played at a particularly good pace.
It's going to be a booking for Savage, who was going into a challenge as Brown played the ball forward and Savage was late.
Oh, this has got stupidity written all over it, hasn't it? You might have known that he would have been looking for some retribution, but so simple really for the referee to give him a yellow card for that.
And another chance for Wycombe to put the ball into the Leicester penalty area, where they're not short of players capable of attacking it. Elliott. A shot by Michael Simpson, who was sent off in the replay in the last round at Wimbledon, but such was the calendar of football that he was able to serve his suspension by missing the midweek game in Division 2. Between McCarthy and Sturridge, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Taggart. Oh, looking to measure it for Savage. There was a touch in there, but I think diverted it from coming absolutely into Savage's path. Then Akinbai tried to get involved. Wycombe survived.
Well, it's a good play, but it's a magnificent tackle, initially from McCarthy and then by Cousins, because Cousins looked as if he'd given up the ghost, but he certainly then reacted in a very positive fashion. But just have a look at this, because Akinbai looked favourite really to strike on goal.
Wycombe. Taggart's header, is it? Tidy play from him. Guppy underhit the pass. Wycombe's work rate produces another interception. And Ben Townsend has certainly not been overawed by the surprise challenge, if you like, because I don't think Wycombe are really expecting Steve Guppy to start, given Peter Taylor's record of not involving him in the outset on a regular basis this season. Taylor going for courses he felt.
Townsend would be the one player that Laurie Sanchez may well have been worried about in his ranks this afternoon. From a defensive point of view, he really has coped admirably well.
That's Brown! Well, Royce couldn't be sure whether that was going in, because it had a bit of late fade on it. It was a great effort by Steve Brown.
Well, it sat up perfectly for the volley, didn't it? And he really did execute it superbly well. And Royce was scampering across to his right-hand side to make the save.
And here we are in stoppage time before half-time. In many ways, it's been a wonderful first half for Wycombe Wanderers, but the one way they'd really like to add wonder to the occasion would be by taking the lead here, right on the break from a corner. Royce can come out and command. Having conceded the corner with an athletic piece of goalkeeping, and now he turns playmaker. Or he hopes to do that by finding Sturridge. He's supported by Savage. Well, that might just have caught Wycombe out with the pace of the break, given the number of players they commit upfield at a corner.
Well, this is a terrific opportunity, and it's born out of the pace from Sturridge. Lays it on unselfishly, but Savage has got more room, and he needs to show more composure.
Well, for those of us, Brian, who played against Wycombe in the old non-league days, could only really marvel at the rise of the club to compete as they've done in the FA Cup this season and in the first half here at Filbert Street. And that's going to be a decision against Sturridge. A bit unlucky with 1 or 2 offside decisions in this first half, but a bit of push and shove that was deemed a free kick for Wycombe. Clearance by Rowett. Half-time. Laurie Sanchez can be proud of his Wycombe Wanderers side. Peter Taylor knows that he's got 90 minutes of home advantage here, and he'll be emphasising, I'm sure, to his players, his Premiership players, that the job can still be done in the second period. Royce has had to make a couple of saves, and at half-time at Filbert Street, no formality for Leicester City. It's 0-0.
That's the scoreline, and the second division underdogs more than holding their own against Peter Taylor's side. We'll be back with the best of the second half in just a couple of minutes. Welcome back. So 0-0 at half-time in the AXA-sponsored FA Cup sixth-round tie between Leicester City and Wycombe Wanderers. Let's get back to Filbert Street and rejoin Brian Marwood and Martin Tyler.
At half-time at Filbert Street, it started to rain quite heavily. Wycombe have been somewhat distracted by their cup run. They're desperately short of a settled side as well. Only just one victory in their last 6 games in their division. But they have matched Leicester City here for 45 minutes. And surely will have drawn great confidence from that. And here's Brown, trying to emphasise that point. Confusion there between Izzet and Savage. And that's an unusually weak kick by Royce. And the outcome is a foul by Izzet. And a free kick for Wycombe, and the first chance in the second half to send the defenders forward. Nick Bates on the left of your picture there, and Cousins number 4. Royce deals with the fist. It comes back by the head of Brown. Guppy. Is it? Point of attack switch to Impey. Rain really stair-rodding down now.
Well, it's disappointing from Andy Impey in the end, but good move involving both wide players. Started on the left-hand side by Guppy, and finally finished by Impey, and I think that's an area of the game that Peter Taylor would have talked about at half-time. I think they can have a big key in the outcome of this football match.
Clegg 1 against 2. He's worked very hard again, and he's got some support from Simpson, who's sent tumbling. Well, Michael Simpson covered a lot of ground to support Clegg then, but the striker himself, the young man on loan from Manchester United, battled very hard in these circumstances.
Well, once again, this is the type of energy Wycombe need to display, and they've done that with abundance here this afternoon so far.
Brown takes it. It's a goal! have scored here. Their set-piece threat has paid off.
What a dream to the second half. It's a great ball in, but just look at Akinbaye at the far post. And McCarthy was in there showing wonderful strength, but there's an awful lot of bodies. And what had happened is that Leicester had got themselves forced back too far, in my opinion. And really the strength of McCarthy in the end against Akinbaye was the feature within the goal.
Sturridge is offside, and Taylor has kept goal very, very well today, without too many testing moments. He didn't know the flag was up here, he had to do his job.
Well, it's marginal, isn't it? But as that ball is played from Savage, this is really about great anticipation from the goalkeeper. He really showed wonderful awareness and fantastic bravery.
Cousins' head. Bates is there behind him. Whipped in by Oakes. Akinbaye got to it, but Taylor was on his toes, getting back on his line to give himself the maximum amount of time to make the save.
Well, it's a comfortable save in the end, but what a fabulous ball in from Stephen Oakes. He had really no reason to get it in from that particular area of the field, but they need to get quality into the front too.
Townsend, that's Brown! Well, a header from outside of the D, and it almost got the better of Simon Royce.
Tell you what, Martin, you'd be pleased to have volleyed it that hard from that distance. Never mind head it. Very nearly caught Simon Royce unawares.
Is it? Goal kick.
They're getting the important decisions, and that's the main thing for Wycombe. At the moment, they're defending with a good shape, in great numbers. Very hard for Leicester City to break them down. But this is the header as this cross came in from Townsend. Just look how far Brown was out, and that seemed to gather pace off the surface.
Edie. Simpson. And Michael Simpson is the sort of player who general tenacity will get him into trouble with referees. He will miss time some tackles. But Edie, fresh legs, got past him. Now can Leicester produce a set-piece reply of their own, involving Guppy. Kept in play here by Elliott. It goes out here as though that should have been a goal kick.
Well, it was a clever set piece, and is it with a dummy, and it ended up with that sweet left foot to Guppy, but he needs to provide something either from set pieces or open play.
Elliott so often the danger, but it's just too high for him. What a great block there, asking for handball. It was Edie's volley. Wycombe came out en masse.
Well, if Brown has handled that, he certainly didn't know anything about it whatsoever, because this really is travelling at some pace. It was a fantastic strike from Darren Edie as he let fizz. It certainly hit Brown's hand, but you can't blame him for that.
Royce in a hurry. First available man is Jerry Taggart. Well, it's Taggart's pass, and it's a very good one for Edie. Is it unmarked? 1-1. Wycombe's resistance is punctured here.
Well, I really did think that if Leicester were to get back in this game, Martin, I said it in the first half, it would come from some sort of drive from the midfield players. Easy replacing, Savage provided that, and he just said to his midfield partner, Muzzy is it, don't stick that away, get us back into the game. It's a fantastic ball across the face of the goal, cuts out the goalkeeper, cuts out the defender, and really Wycombe can not have defended any better than they did from that particular incident.
I guess the mistake, if you trace it back, and Peter Taylor won't be worrying about that because his team are in again. Oh, it's Akinbai, can all turn around here. Taylor's kept it out, Akinbai's there again. Is it, wants it? Is it? Back for Impey. It so easily could have been 2-1 to Leicester, only seconds after being 1-0 to Wycombe.
Well, they can't afford to be sloppy, Wycombe. They really have put so much effort into their game here this afternoon. They mustn't get disappointed from that equaliser by Leicester.
Just the point of it, the distance that Taggart was allowed to go, Brian, in the build-up. But this was the chance that came later.
Well, it's a wonderful opportunity, but really shows no real confidence, does he, Akinbai? Certainly it's surprising because he has been in form of late. He's had a tough time since his move.
Well, Stuart Castledine, you might remember him from his Wimbledon days. He would have enjoyed that success over the Selhurst Park club in the last round. Legs coming off. Keith Ryan as well, and on comes Roy Isendo, who is on a week-to-week contract with Wycombe, and he virtually heard on the grapevine that Wycombe needed strikers, and he made himself available. He was not contracted elsewhere. Now Brown for a second wind in it for Wycombe and a second goal. That's terrific play by Ben Townsend, who left Darren Eadie trailing and fouling.
How old did you say he was?
He's old enough. You can see in that respect he's mature enough, the teenager. And he got Leicester City backpedaling at a time when Wycombe needs somebody really to show some impetus on the ball. And it's another free kick and another chance for Wycombe, you feel, as Brown takes it. Well met by Matt Elliott, but he's only put it back where it came from. Brown in again, and well, the referee had a look at the assist, and it was Steph Oakes who could have been caught in a situation where he used the upper arm and not the chest.
Laurie Sanchez has certainly come out of his technical area. He's absolutely furious. As this ball came back in, the referee had no view of it whatsoever, and there really was a serious suspicion of handball, and you can understand the frustration of Laurie Sanchez. He just feels as if his side had just been done out of a penalty. And also
Laurie Sanchez is sent from the bench for carrying his protests further than the referee would allow. Rowett. Again, a little change of direction, but with a massive limp. Poor Muzzy, is it?
Well, it's been a mixed afternoon for Muzzy, is it, of course, getting the equaliser, but now having to limp through the final minutes of this match. And
Castledine. Time for any defensive miscalculations at this stage of an FA Cup quarter-final. The time of home advantage very nearly up for Leicester City. And it could have been worse for them. They are chasing a winner when for a while they were pursuing an equaliser. That came from Izzet. They haven't really kicked on from there. Leicester do get another corner.
Well, they've defended well for the majority of the corners, Wycombe Wanderers, and just those few minutes to get through now.
It is indeed 4 minutes. Guppy takes. Taggart!
Well, we know Guppy can deliver quality from corner kicks. The goalkeeper can't get anywhere near it because he's got a lot of pace on the ball, but once again, good determination by the centre-halves.
Impey. From Loudson. That really has been Wycombe at work from first whistle, and they're trying to sustain it to the last.
They've done it brilliantly. They really have closed down as well as I've seen anybody this season, Martin.
They've got a free kick here. Sanchez can be proud of his players, and the directors, of course, our old friend Alan Parry amongst them. Dave Carroll has contributed a huge amount to Wycombe Wanderers, not fit today on the far end of that road. And now they're looking at a situation where Wycombe are looking for a winning goal here at Filbert Street. Royce knocks it down and away from the point of immediate danger. It is! It's Isando! The player who's only on a week-to-week contract. This is an incredible story, even by the standards of the FA Cup. Of Ghanaian extraction, born in Belfast, out of work really, until Wycombe said, come and play for us. Remember the name, Roy Isando.
Well, when will this competition ever cease to amaze you? But once again, wonderful determination from Jamie Bates. He had more desire than Rowan at the far post, and then it really is about the header from Isando, and he planted it firmly past, and that's one man that would rather have been outside. He celebrates, he'd like to be outside with his players.
Well, Steve Brown has been sent off in the celebrations with deep now into stoppage time. I saw the red card come out, whether it was a second yellow, but Steve Bennett saw something while Wycombe were reacting to Isando's header, and it is Leicester City 1, Wycombe Wanderers 2. He'd been booked, of course, Brown. And the style of his celebrations for Steve Brown, I think, aggravated Steve Bennett. So Wycombe have 10 men, but they do have the lead. Leicester have the corner. But they don't have a second equaliser. Gary Rowett couldn't keep his header down.
Well, if that's what he's been sent off for, it's an absolute disgrace. It really is. The referees, I mean, Andy mentioned it on Monday night, Martin. Big decisions they seem to get wrong. They certainly seem to have got the penalty decision wrong, as Stephen Oakes looked to have handled the ball. But really, you can't stop players from celebrating like that.
Well, they had plenty to celebrate. Especially this fella. Have boots will travel. They were looking for Vialli. They were looking for Ian Wright. They got Roy Isando. Bullman. Back it goes from Impey. Referee looks at his watch. Bit of retreating here for Leicester. Another look at the watch from Steve Bennett. Wycombe Wanderers are in the semi-finals. Unbelievable. And Roy Isando has stepped from obscurity into international headlines with his header that has won the day for Wycombe Wanderers. They took the lead through Paul McCarthy, an almost customary goal from him. Laurie Sanchez and Terry Gibson saw Muzzy as it equalised, but Wycombe found the second wind. They found the second goal. They have caused a sensation here at Filbert Street, and Brian Marwood, it's a victory that's been thoroughly deserved.
Oh, every much so, Martin, and it leaves you speechless. It really does, and I don't think anybody, even Peter Taylor, can come out after this game and really take any credit away from Wycombe Wanderers. They set their stall out very early, they were organised, they were disciplined, they got their goal from a determination but a fantastic set piece. And when you thought that Leicester got back into it and they would push on, they came again. And in that man, well, they've got a hero, but all of them can count themselves heroes. They really can. It's been a wonderful day. It's been a wonderful competition for Wycombe Wanderers, and it goes on and on and on.
A man who's only been at the club a few days, a name that you'll never forget. I had to find out how to pronounce it with Alan, who helped me at the training session on Thursday morning. He didn't know Rui Sando as well. He knows Laurie Sanchez. He helped appoint him.
Guess where he'll be tonight.
Well, we won't hear the last of this, and that's absolutely right.
Well, what a game and what a story. When we come back, reaction from Filbert Street and the thoughts of Russell Osman on a day Wycombe Wanderers tore up the form book and dumped Premiership Leicester out of the FA Cup. And Laurie Sanchez, who once had an inkling he might make a good manager, surely proved that he is. And we're reliably informed they're still in there and still singing. Let's get some reaction from the Wycombe camp now, starting with the scorer of their first goal, Paul McCarthy.
Paul, we had a joke earlier in the week about your goal-scoring abilities. It's carried on to the quarter-final itself.
Yeah, we did. I can't believe it, really. You know, I'm not a prolific goal scorer, but it seems to be happening for me in the cup. It's just great. Look at the boys there. We can't believe it. You know, we're not going mad or anything. It's just, you know, it's something we didn't think possible.
Laurie, I know you're a very calm and composed character, but surely today must have stretched that.
Yeah, I mean, as you could see, I was, you know, they've missed a definite penalty. I mean, if a referee and linesman aren't out there to see those type of things, what are they out there for? To send players off for taking their shirts off? The trouble is, you know, people in charge know the rules, but they don't know the game. I'll probably get fined for that, and I'll get, you know, and nothing will be done with them. That penalty, if we hadn't won the game today, that penalty could have cost us £1 million. You know, and they just shrugged their arms. Never mind, you know. But credit to my boys. At the end of the day,
you have won the game. At the end of the day,
we won the game. I thought we were the better team on the day. We had the best chances, penalties that should have been given. You know, and they deserve everything they got. You know, everybody knows with horrendous injuries we've had, and Roy has scored. You know, we didn't know him last Tuesday, so that's the glory of the FA Cup. And I said it to him all the way. You know, it's a competition for heroes. You stick your head in the right place, suddenly everybody's talking about you.
Peter, this is not an interview that probably I expected to be doing after a game, and maybe you put it through your mind and pushed it out that this could happen, but why did it go wrong for Leicester today?
I don't know, really. We've played superbly well here the last couple of Saturdays, and so I'm shocked, really. I think the way we played today. In the end, good luck to Wycombe. They deserved it. They were organised, and they took their goals very well. But for us, they were poor goals, and for us, our performance was poor. But again, I don't want to take anything away from Laurie. They deserve you know, they've got their win, and good luck to them.
Tell me this is happening. I really still can't believe it. I mean, I've seen some great things as a commentator, as you have, but I never thought I'd see the day my club, if I can call them that, got to the last four of the greatest knockout competition in the world, and deservedly so, I think.
I reckon we're going to have trouble finding him over the next week or so. Probably. He deserved to celebrate, doesn't it? It's an incredible result.
It's a magnificent result, and they deserved it. They played very, very well, and they stopped Leicester playing, and that was the secret of it.
Let's have a look at the first goal then.
Yeah.
Paul McCarthy, we've heard from him earlier on, he has reason to be happy as well.
Well, he's a great lad, he's a great centre-half, and he's a typical robust, strong centre-half. And all he does, he out-muscles Adi Akinbaye, who's one of the strongest footballers you'll come across. Probably Simon Royce could have done better by coming in and helping out his centre-halves there.
Wycombe held on, there wasn't an immediate capitulation, but Muzzy as it did get an equaliser, and at that stage it looked as though Leicester were in the driving seat.
Yeah, and their goal more or less came from Jay Taggart actually venturing forward with the ball, and it was a lovely through ball that he played to Dan Eady, and Dan Eady has a look up, and this is the only occasion that the Wycombe defence had gone missing and gone to sleep, and Dan Eady put the ball right on the spot for Muzzy as it, just to slide it in.
Laurie Sanchez said the referee could have cost him £1 million. Now, I don't really want to put words in Sanchez's mouth. I think he's probably voiced enough already.
Yeah.
But this penalty incident, it looked a clear case of handball.
As far as I'm concerned, it was. And you can see the player move towards the ball, his arm goes out. And what's surprising for me, Matt, is that the linesman is that side. He's looking at that more or less square onto the player. You know, and how the linesman misses, I don't know. If it had happened with the linesman on the far side of the pitch, maybe it would have been understandable, but not from where the linesman was there. It
looked as though it was heading for 1-1. Presumably, Sanchez would have been happy with that.
Yeah, I think it would have been, yeah. But great performance. But even the longer the game went, and I think Wycombe were happy that they got away with Akinbaye missing a chance that Martin Taylor saved just after they equalised. Wycombe kept going, kept putting the pressure on, and I still think they fancied it right to the end of nicking a winner.
All right, you've been a manager, you've advertised, haven't you, in the local paper, on the internet, whatever.
Yeah, every week.
Eastondoe was advertised, or they were looking for strikers.
Yeah.
Eastondoe's agent saw it actually advertised on teletext.
Yeah.
He's not cup-tied, he's not even league-tied, he's not even played in England for goodness knows how long, and he comes in and does this.
Yeah, it's a toss-up between him or you, wasn't it?
Not me.
But it was... See, Royce came for that one, and he got a good punch on it. But then... the Leicester defenders, they don't quite get out to the 18-yard box, so they've still camped in the 18-yard box a little bit. Great header back across the goal, and Jay Taggart is really the first header that he's missed all day. And Roy Essendoe just gets up early, anticipates it. You can see Jay Taggart a little bit flat-footed, but the ball back into the box was perfect for Roy Essendoe to ram home.
There's Laurie Sanchez. Justifiably happy, jubilant I think is the term they use.
Yeah.
We were just watching it on the telly upstairs and we were giving it all this. Anybody watching would do that. If you're involved in the game, you do that and you get yourself sent off.
Tell me about it. I cannot believe that. For love and the money. There must have been a minute left of the game, and if you cannot celebrate when you're a second division player who's just knocked out a Premier League side and you're getting through to the semi-final of the FA Cup and you get booked for taking your shirt off and then sent off as a result of your second yellow card, that for me, I think Steve Bennett's really got to have a serious think about his game today.
Well, I wonder what he thought of all the celebrations at the end. He couldn't do a thing about them, could he? And Steve Brown was back on the pitch to join in with them. Yeah,
it's fantastic. Eastondoe there, going to meet his supporters for the first time, I think. But obviously they'll take to him now, won't they?
Oh, there's Mr. Parry.
He was everywhere, wasn't he, Alan?
He was part of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. Okay, well, one thing's for sure, we've seen a game we won't forget for a while. In the history of the FA Cup, there hadn't been many like this. Laurie Sanchez proves himself a great governor, and the new crazy gang are born as Wycombe march into the next round, the semi-finals of the FA Cup. From Russell and I, it's a very good night.